What if I mess up? I can't talk to them. Why did I make those plans? I can't miss this. I'm so nervous. Everything is gonna go wrong. Did I lock my door? Please say they're okay.
Is this how you feel a lot of the time? If it is, chances are you're at the right video. So stay tuned, and I'm going to show you a couple ways of how you can cope with your anxiety. Let's get it. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to this Wake Up Wednesday. Wake up, people. Today we're going to be covering a very important topic in my eyes, and it is anxiety. Everybody struggles with it. They say that 85% of the population struggles with some sort of anxiety, and 15% don't. They must be lying, because everybody does. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first of all tell you the definition of anxiety using my old cell phone. So, anxiety is the intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. And that comes with fast heart rate, rapid breathing, sweating, and feeling tired may occur. So, pretty much what anxiety is you're doing everyday normal situations, and all you can think about is how you're going to react to something. You're afraid of people's feedback. You're afraid of it going in the absolute wrong way. I do this all the time. Your fight or flight is activating more than it should. And what I'm gonna do is, as I'm deadlifting today, I'm gonna be giving you some tips on how you can change your perspective on anxiety, and hopefully you can work with it a little bit better. So I'm about to get to these warm-ups. Tip number 1 is coming up. So like and subscribe if you like content like this, and hopefully this helps you out. I think it will. So let's get to it. Tip number 1. So whenever you're struggling with anxiety, what you want to do is be more mindful. So with being mindful means maybe start meditating. So I started doing this for like 10 minutes a day. It's like whenever you've got anxiety, it feels like you're in this crowded area and all these thoughts are around you and you're thinking about them constantly and they're just surrounding you. Whenever you're more mindful of situations, what happens is you have more of an outside view on your thoughts and you're able to be more rational with them. So being mindful is just literally just taking a step back and breathing, and instead of focusing on all these things, focus on your actual self, and that way you can be a little more distracted and think a lot better on what is going on around you. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, what you want to do to quit being so daggum anxious all the time is you need to quit caffeine. Like, I know your cup of joe in the morning, I know your pre-workout, you want to take it and stuff, but what it does is it blocks off a certain hormone that allows you to be more rational and activates the more fight or flight of your brain pretty much. And whenever that happens, you become less rational, and yeah, you'll have energy for a while, but it comes at a cost, because once it starts wearing off, you get more fatigued in the brain and you just start going everywhere, man. So just from personal experience, that was another thing, like being inside the thoughts rather than outside the thoughts. Quitting caffeine has allowed me to be a lot more rational what I'm thinking and start to analyze whenever I am having anxiety. So it's a lot better to be able to recognize it than just blindly go through it. So quitting caffeine, number 2. After this, we'll go on to tip number 3. Okay, so we got the last single of the day. We got a little 615 piece with 6 biscuits on each side. I don't know if I'm gonna get this, but if I do, I'm gonna drop 2 additional tips of advice after this one. After this single, I'm gonna get to tip number 3, and this is a very important one, so stay tuned and wish me luck. It's gonna be heavy. Okay, so I wound up destroying that 615. That was the first single. I gotta do 2 more, but I'm probably gonna stop at 1 because it was pretty heavy. Tip number 3, stop identifying anxiety as a disorder, because whenever you got a disorder, you always feel like something's wrong with you. Anxiety isn't a disorder. Anxiety is an emotion. Like, you gotta realize that before you can move forward. Anxiety is what, you go into a job interview, that's what causes you to dress nice. It causes you to be on your best behavior. It's what causes you to dress good whenever you go on a date with a pretty girl that you had a crush on in high school. Anxiety is what literally fuels you to just, be a lot more strict with what you do. And without that, then what would the world be? That's tip number 3. I'm gonna do another single, and I also got 2 bonus tips. I'm gonna do what I promised since I hit that weight. So stay tuned again. We're gonna get to those after this workout. Okay, so I had to go in the bathroom because there was music playing outside. I can't be caught with that copyright. I can't go back to jail. I can't. Tip number 4, this is just an analogy. I got one from a TED Talk that I could use, but I want to use one of my own. I think of anxiety as the little lights that come up on the car's dash, under the speedometer and stuff like that, like the check engine light, the maintenance one, the tires, not having traction, etc. Those coming up doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna wreck. It doesn't mean your car's gonna blow up. It does not mean that you're gonna have a flat in the next 5 seconds. What they're doing is either warning you or they're making you pay a little bit closer to attention. So if you're not paying attention to it, chances are it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse the longer that engine light is on. And once you keep on ignoring it, that is when you need to start worrying. Whenever anxiety is going, it's trying to get your attention. The TED Talk says you treat it like you're the pilot or the captain of a boat, and anxiety is your crew. So anxiety is the crew that is telling the captain, hey, there's something coming up ahead. You need to pay attention. It doesn't mean I'm gonna wreck my boat. It just means that it's something I need to worry about. And if you think of it more as a warning and start listening to it and start acknowledging it, and a big thing that I realized is you've got to almost talk to it. Like, if I'm going into a situation, I ask myself, I'm like, why do I need to pay attention to this? What is causing me to have this negative reaction? And a lot of the time, if you acknowledge anxiety, it's gonna quiet down because it's not having to yell over you whenever you're sitting there shunning it. It works in a way where it gets louder and louder until you give it attention. And that's why a lot of people get to a point where anxiety takes over them. And my anxiety is still pretty bad, but doing that definitely has lowered it a lot, and it's gotten it to being a lot more tolerable. Tip number 5, most important one. Be patient with yourself. You cannot, just like anything else, you are not gonna build this overnight. Anxiety is an emotion, but it is an overwhelming one. It's meant to be uncomfortable, and it is meant to help you out. But you have got to be patient with yourself and realize that, yeah, it's there, but you can tolerate it a lot better. And the moment you realize that, the better life is gonna be. So just take it by day, set small goals, and keep trying to get better and better at tolerating it, because it's always gonna be there. But the difference is your perspective. Are you thinking of it as something incredibly dangerous that hurts you? Or are you thinking of it as helpers, as your crew as those car symbols that are telling you that you need to pay attention. That's going to be the difference in tolerating and being afraid. Don't be afraid of anxiety. It's there to help. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I understand anxiety is extremely stressful. I understand you're uncomfortable. I know sometimes it gets really hard, but with these few tips, I just hope that you can look at it with a different perspective, because anxiety really isn't just to make you uncomfortable. It's looking out for you, and it's looking for better scenarios. That way you don't make the same mistakes. So if you like this content, of course, like and subscribe. I love helping people out, and you know, I struggle with anxiety every day. It consumes you. It's very hard to tolerate, and it does make life hard sometimes, but I want to be here for y'all, and I want to give the tips that I looked up in my own research and everything, and on personal experience. I want to give y'all small little things that you can do to maybe better your situation and hopefully not struggle with anxiety so much, because I know that it is extremely overwhelming and all of you deserve better. So thank you for watching far more, and never forget you are. See y'all later. Stay beautiful, baby.